Hey guys, 2 minutes late, but I am here. Approach the Nerd, Maria Park. We are doing the Superman and Lois, I guess, after show review. It is something I want to do because it was 2 hours long, and I knew making a video about this would take a very long time. So, hi, Yido. Thanks for being in the stream. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna kind of break down the show, and I took very good notes because I had questions. But so let's talk about Superman and Lois. Cinematography wise, this was effing amazing. It literally was like watching the series Smallville filmed as Man of Steel. That's what it was. More than likely, actually better than Man of Steel because they had better cameras. There was a lot of shaky cam going on in Man of Steel. Whew. It's pretty. Now, will they maintain this quality? I hope so. I really do. HBO put a lot of money behind this. I said this when I reviewed the trailer. They put a lot of money into this series, and it shows because stuff is on point in this. So, very happy with the cinematography, the shots, the way Smallville looks very gray, which kind of symbolizes that it's a town that literally needs hope. And one of the characters that get introduced, which is Lana's daughter, even goes so far as to saying it. She said that around Smallville, it looks like there's a sadness that just travels around, and that it creeps into your lives. And she didn't think it would get into her house, and it did. So Smallville is very depressing, whereas Metropolis is fast, 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 fast. So I love that they show that distinction, and it's like everything about the film, the way they filmed this, the cinematography, the shot composition, everything was it was just on point. So whether you like Superman or not, this show, at least in the aspect of cinematography, was on point. So we got to see the origin story of Clark from beginning to end, like leaving Krypton, landing on Smallville, being raised by Martha and Jonathan Kent. We see him, as a teenager. We see Jonathan Kent, had the heart attack that, obviously kills him in almost every version of Superman's backstory. We see him moving to Metropolis, him meeting Lois for the first time, which I thought was really funny because he was channeling, he was kind of like a morphed version or a hybrid version of Christopher Reeves with Brandon Routh, which I thought was very interesting because he had that little nerdiness down when he was talking to Lois, and Lois, I'll give Bitsy Lois's actress credit. She was channeling her Margot Kidder in that scene, so not hating on that. I love that they went through this whole exposition from them being married to having the twins, which if you watch Crisis on Infinite Poop, that's what I call it. They initially had Jonathan. And then when Crisis happened and the Prime Earth merged with the other Earths, and essentially everybody's on Prime Earth except for Stargirl and a few others, their one child split into two children. And when we see the backstory here, it's interesting because you see the sonogram of the twins, and you see everybody, around, like Martha and everybody basically has seen that she's pregnant with twins, which did not happen prior to Crisis. So this is like one of the first indicators, or basically one of the more real moments that we see that stuff has changed outside of what Barry did in Flashpoint. Hi, Tara. So I'm very, very interested to see what other changes Crisis made, because the twins are completely, Jordan is an anomaly. And in the comics, it is Jonathan who is Superboy. So I think it's interesting that the way this is playing out, they have like the inferior, superior brother. So Jonathan is like the kid that, gets whatever he wants. He's basically starring on, as quarterback on his varsity team in school, even though he's a freshman. So, all of these things come easily to him. And with Jordan, he's introverted. He has a social anxiety disease. He has panic attacks. He throws fits. I mean, he has to take medication. And he is the one that even Superman or Clark did not think would have the powers. Both of them were leaning towards Jonathan because everything came easy to him. So it was very interesting in this show that it was actually Jordan who ended up with powers. Now, I'm not saying that Jonathan doesn't have it, because if they're keeping to the canon, Jonathan is Superboy. So, I mean, more than likely he's a late bloomer. But yeah, Jordan right now is the one that has the abilities. And he reminds me of Lex, Michael Rosenbaum's Lex from the original Smallville. He just does. He absolutely does. So I think it's interesting. A kid that's got to battle his inner demons that has all of his dad's powers. So yeah, I will say how they revealed that in the episode, though. Him going to the bonfire and him kissing Sarah, who happens to be Lana's daughter, and I'll get to Lana in a minute. Not realizing she has a boyfriend, and him and his brother getting jumped, and him getting so angry he uses his heat ray vision to start a fire, and that is pretty much how we need. But I kind of figured it because there's a scene in this series where they first go in the barn, and they're always told whenever they visit Smallville, don't go in the barn because Clark said there's so many things in there that can kill you, which is an indication they should not be looking and be nosing around in the barn. And they're going to check out the router, and you see Jordan climb up there, and it looks like he's even kind of levitating a little bit when he's reaching over for the router. And the fact that he fell and did not break his neck or bones or anything from that distance already told me that he had powers. They just made it look like Jonathan shielded him when actually he shielded Jonathan. But I will give Jonathan props. He did jump on his brother, and he intended to shield him. So there's that. First question, before we go on into the kind of recap / summary, why in the heck did Clark not move that damn ship to the Fortress of Solitude? I kept thinking, if you don't want your sons to go traveling around in the barn, then why don't you put it in the fortress? We know you had it because you had it in Crisis and you had it in Elseworlds. Why not move the ship to the Fortress of Solitude? Just throwing it out there. Okay, so Clark's been fired from his job. Actually, they have a lot. At this point, there is a ton of layoffs because Morgan Edge is buying up everything. He bought the Daily Planet. He bought a bunch of farms. Basically, what he's doing is he owns a company called Galaxy Holdings, and they're offering reverse mortgages to elderly people for their farms. So there's something going on with the farms in Smallville. There is a mystery in Smallville, period, because unfortunately, when Martha dies and Clark's flying there, and like he took off pretty damn fast to go to Mom. He got to hear her last words, and they were, it's time, come home. And of course, they're thinking it's because she wanted him to bring the family there and learn to be a family. Even though he's Superman, it's kind of hard. He's making promises that he's going to be around. I'm like, you're Superman, but I digress. But there's something going on with the land itself, like. The fact that Lana, quote unquote, did not realize that her bank that she works for was bought in secret by Galaxy Holdings is interesting. But I'm not going to put too much stock into that because the way Lana and her husband, Kyle, I believe his name is, who is a firefighter, the way they were looking at each other and talking, I think something shady is going on with them. I'm just putting out, I think they know a lot more than they think or they're saying. And so at this point, everybody in Smallville is on my radar because it's pretty early. We just did the first 2-hour premiere, but everybody's on my radar. Until I see otherwise, everyone's a suspect of what's actually going down in Smallville. But okay, so back to it. So Clark loses his job. They're deciding if they want to pay off the loan or sell the farm. So this is a decision that they're going to have to come to as a family. And we know they're going to do it because we saw the trailers. I mean, but it's nice that they get to have a family dinner and discuss it. So there's that. So at the same time, there is a kind of like problem with a bunch of these nuclear plants. Basically, a lot of the cooling towers are being like somebody's going and purposely cutting holes and rifts in it and making nuclear meltdowns happen at various nuclear plants. And Lois's father, Sam Lane, who also has a little way of calling his son-in-law with a little, I call them the Superman beepers. He is researching it. And so he got some video footage and he's seeing that whoever's doing this, not only it moves very fast, is also writing in Kryptonian. So of course we're thinking, okay, obviously it's not Zod or somebody like that because, we've been there and done that. This is supposed to be, the kids are teenagers. So this is supposed to be somebody new. So when I found out that it was Lex Luthor, I was not surprised because no matter what happens, Lex Luthor is literally to Superman what Joker is to Batman. Luthor is his clown. I mean, it's just what it is. And this man will go to any lengths to F up Superman's life. But I am curious about the suit. The power suit like, I want to know what era is this post-crisis? Is this did he use the mother box to create it, which is what I think happened. I think we're going to probably learn about the mother box in this series. And if you don't know what the mother box is, it's very interesting. And there also was a father box. There's it's either child or orphan box. These are all comic book references. I'll be happy to do a video on in the future. But if Les Luthor made this suit with Superman's abilities based with the basis of the mother box, then this would be very effing interesting. And that fight scene between Lex in the suit and, Kal-El was pretty damn cool because they were fighting in space. They were fighting in the air. They were fighting on land. And he stabbed, Superman with freaking kryptonite. And Superman pulled out the kryptonite and flew home. And I'm like, that's new. I'm like, but whatever. I'm completely okay with that. But I just thought it was interesting. I like how they dragged it out. But I mean, I kind of knew who it was. I looked at the trailer and when we reviewed it, and I was like, I wonder who this guy is. And then the more I thought about it, I thought about how many times Lex Luthor was in a power suit. I mean, heck, when he used the mother box to create his like almost last version of the suit, he even became Superman. He became primer of Superman. So I mean, more than likely that's what they're bringing into here. I don't know in what capacity, Lex is going to be involved in this story, because Morgan Edge seems to be one of the main villains right now, but it's interesting. So for me, I kind of feel like Morgan Edge will be Lois's villain and then Lex will be Superman's villain. That's what I think is going to happen. But yeah, I mean, overall, I liked this, the series. I like the film, like everything about it was like watching a film. It wasn't like watching a CW series. And I knew it wouldn't be, because if you look at the trailer, the quality is like light years ahead of The Flash and, Black Lightning, unfortunately. And even Stargirl. Stargirl has pretty good, in my opinion, they have pretty good, filming quality and cinematography. Not so sure how season 2 is going to go, because they are full CW now and they didn't start full CW. So there's that. But I really think that this show has a lot of potential. And I really love the chemistry between Tyler and Bitsy. I think they're a really good Clark and Lois. I know a lot of people were upset that Lois keeps throwing out that line saying the world will always need Superman, but right now in this moment, this family needs you more. And in a way, what I think she should have said was, and I said this in the trailer review, is right now this family needs Clark. That I think would have gone down a lot more. But you know how nerds be. I'm like, you gonna tell a hero he can't go out and save the world? Are you being selfish? I can already hear that being a thing. But yeah, there's so much. Like the whole thing with Jordan in general. Like Jordan gets this look. He gets this look on his face that reminds me of a villain. It's almost like watching Brightburn, like the beginning of his origin story, if he was raised by Superman. I don't know. I think they're going to have their hands full. It would be really messed up if Jordan goes down the path of darkness and then Jonathan gets his powers and he goes down the path of light, and then you have the two Superboys having to fight it out. That would be interesting. But yeah, there's a lot to this. And I kind of felt like the whole situation with Jordan and Sarah is so reminiscent of OG, Smallville's Clark and Lana. And her being Lana's daughter, just kind of rubs that in. I mean, heck, Jordan kind of even has almost the same hair that Tom Welling had when he was in the first season of Smallville. So, I mean, I can definitely see that being a thing. And then maybe the brothers like a little triangle over this girl. Lana seems to still be into Clark. To the fact that her own daughter, the youngest daughter, I think her name is Sophie, is even calling out Mama at a freaking funeral or after funeral, saying, Daddy's mad at you because you were trolling on Clark's, Facebook page. You used to date him and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, Lord. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but Lana definitely seems to be the one, or Clark, or to Lana for Clark, might be the one that got away. It seems like she, how people always wonder what would the other side be like if they just had gone with Clark, or, whatever. Like when Clark first saw Lana, that was an interesting look too. So I wonder if there's going to be some issues with that in the series, because it is CW and they got to throw drama in there somewhere. So I don't know. There's a lot to this, guys. There is a lot to this, but overall, I did enjoy this episode. So I'm gonna look at some of your questions because I didn't think I was gonna like it, and I do. So now I don't know what to say. Like, I wonder where they will go with that. I would expect it to be the reverse, Metropolis being hopeless and Smallville full of hope. Yeah, but I guess because Metropolis is bustling, and I mean, come on, we got like Diggle going there with his family. So, and now I will say this: I've always thought that John Diggle was going to move his family to Metropolis, and that's when he was going to become Green Lantern John Stewart, because he did find the Green Ring, at the end of Arrow, the series finale. But we're on a different Earth. I still think John Diggle is going to become John Stewart, because even in Elseworlds, in an alternate reality, people ask where his ring is. But the reason I think that they're doing that is because if you watch Black Lightning yesterday, which honestly, they're all in the same universe at this point, Lynn in therapy name dropped her brother John on her therapy couch. Sorry if I'm spoiling this, but I mean, this is a big deal. And she even said, my brother John went right into the army after school. Lynn Stewart, John Stewart. John Stewart was in the army. Green Lantern. So if John Diggle's actor is doing all of these cameos on these TV series, then more than likely we will see a new version of John Diggle, but I don't think it's going to be the Diggle from Arrowverse. I think it's going to be a John Stewart from Lynn's original Earth. Because just because Crisis merged the Earths into a Prime Earth doesn't mean all their family members went away. I mean, we saw this with Beth in season 1 of Batman, how we had Alice and Beth sharing the same space. So more than likely, when we meet her brother, he'll be a doppelganger for John Diggle, and he will be the Green Lantern. I mean, that's the opportunity there. Now, whether they do that or not, I don't know. It would be stupid not to, but there is opportunity for that. And we do know that John Diggle will be making appearances in Legends and a few other shows. So just throwing it out there. And yes, John Stewart gives me hope for Jessica Cruz. Everything gives me hope for Jessica Cruz. You're not a member of the super family unless you're a part of a love triangle. That is so true. That's so true. Jordan might end up being an antagonist due to his introverted tendencies. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, the way he looks is just like Brightburn. He's like, I'm tired of you people lying to me. I'm tired of people in general. I don't like people. So I'll just take you out. I'm like, but just keep killing you. Like, yeah, he definitely has a temper on him. He has no control. And when that heat vision came out, he could have killed somebody. So, but I knew it was going to be him. Is SNL on the same timeline as Black Lightning? Yes, they're all supposed to be on the same Earth. At least that's what happened post-Crisis. Now, I don't know if they're sticking to that, because let's be real, Crisis on Infinite Crisis on Infinite Earth, CW style, seemed to be the biggest waste of time, period. This miniseries made no sense because nothing really good came out of it. I mean, Kate Kane's gone. Black Lightning's leaving, Supergirl's leaving. I mean, after they have this whole Justice League thing set up and only Sarah and Barry are left. So, and technically this version of Superman, but you cannot have a whole Justice League with 3 people. So it's interesting. Let's put it that way. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm tired of introverted people getting a bad rep in fictional stories. True. I'm an ambivert, so I'm outgoing when I need to be, but I drain easily. And my daughter is an introvert. My spouse is an introvert. So I'm probably the most outgoing and closest to extrovert in this house. But if you talk to me outside of this and I don't know you, you would think I was an introvert because I'm not very social. So I understand that. Bad rep. Will the powers make the man or vice versa? Good question. I mean, there's a lot. I want to know how Clark's going to keep to this promise. I mean, telling Jordan, about his dad, about Jonathan Kent always being there for him and saying, I haven't always been there for you, but I'm going to be, and promising that. And then I'm like, but what happens when you get a call and your son needs to talk to you and you have to fly off to save somebody? How are you going to promise that? That's not something you should have done. I feel like you're setting yourself up for failure with your son, and Jordan and him are the ones that are not the close. Like him and Jonathan seem to have a very good relationship, but him and Jordan, like example, when he was playing, I think he was playing DC versus Mortal Kombat and he was playing as Raiden and he was kicking the crap out of Superman. That to me, maybe an indication of things to come in the future, because he even says that Superman is just overrated, basically. So I think that there's a lot. I think that scene is a very pivotal scene that we will actually probably go back to when we review future episodes, saying this is where it all went wrong right here. This was an indication that things were not right with Jordan. Let's see. I don't trust Lana and Kyle. I do not trust them either. There's something about that that's just very weird to me. Like, Kyle is just bitter anyway because he's jealous of Clark. And I kind of feel like that might have been a thing. We'll probably have stories about that, about their time in school or high school. I love that they actually, name drop Pete. So that's awesome. I also love that they did not name drop Chloe, which is very weird because remember in Supergirl, unless Crisis changed this too, Supergirl got information from Chloe, an old friend of Clark's from high school. And she says this in Supergirl, but we don't get any indication that Chloe even exists in Smallville in this version. So it was Lana and Pete and Clark who went off to the concert. So I'm just saying, it's interesting. I wonder if Kara will be referenced in the series. Probably. I mean, they've already established their cousins. So, I mean, it's not like their Earths aren't merged. And she does have her series coming up. She has one series left to interact with them. Whether they do that or not, I don't know. I often wonder if we're going to get a Batwoman and Superman and Lois crossover, because right now she's dealing with kryptonite poisoning, and who better to talk to than a Kryptonian about how to fix that. I don't know if they're going to do that or not, but maybe. Good opportunity to cross the two worlds, but then that would make a really weird transition in film quality. That's the thing that bothers me. Doing a crossover right now with Superman and Lois would be very interesting, because if it was on Superman and Lois, like say they did a split, you're going to have the cameras, the cheap, quality cameras they use on the Flash and Batwoman, and then they're going to go over to Superman and Lois and be in a freaking movie, and it's going to be a really weird transition. Like, it'll be weird to watch. So I don't know how they would pull that off. Just putting it out there. Let's see. It's strange to hear the words movie and CW in the same sentence. True that. But I mean, it looks like a movie. If you really just if you took all of the commercials out and you just watched it straight, this 2 hours, it looked like a movie. And I'm completely cool with it. I am. Like, again, I don't know. It looks like next week's quality is going to be the same. I don't know if this is going to be the entire series. I mean, it's expensive to do this. But again, HBO is footing the bill, so maybe. So Jordan's basically Connor from the comics, pretty much. And I don't know. I've often wondered, because everybody else remembers Crisis, and I know Clark and Lois should remember Crisis. Do they not think it's odd that they now have 2 kids? Do they not think it's odd that they have a whole other timeline? Or do they not remember? Did Martian Manhunter not give them their memories back? Because Barry has his back. Kara has hers back. I mean, he went to different Earths. Black Lightning remembers it. Heck, even Jen, who wasn't even there, knew about the crisis and what was happening. So why doesn't Superman and Lois, why don't they know? So there's things I have questions about, because you got to ask the questions. You have to ask the big questions. But yeah, I want to know what's up with Morgan Edge. Like, what does he want in Smallville? Is the soil good for something? I mean, what is it? What is it? I mean, he could be like, it could be like they could be imitating real world. He wants to build a pipeline of oil underneath Smallville. But it's something shady, and Lois is she's already trying to figure out what he's been doing for the past 5 years. So I love that Lois is in investigative reporter mode. So there's that. But I also want to know how she's going to continue being a reporter, because I know in the original Smallville, it always was disconcerting to me that they would be able to get in a car and drive from Smallville to Metropolis, when Metropolis is supposed to be in New York and Smallville's in Kansas. So I guess I got really confused on how that works. Well, I don't know if that's going to be a thing in this one. I mean, yes, Superman got there very quickly, but it's Superman. But if you had to drive by a car, how long, what's the distance between, Metropolis and Smallville in this series? I really want to know, because if it's a great enough distance and they're already laying people off, even though Lois has won lots of awards and she's very, she's one of the highest rated reporters right now in Metropolis. Morgan would probably still fire her. So how will she continue to work for the Daily Planet, especially if he catches on that she's investigating him and he owns the planet now? So just something to think about. I wonder how that's going to work. I think Superman and Lois is only getting to loosely tie into the Arrowverse. Also glad it's called the Arrowverse again. The backlash CW-verse was major, and I'm glad they listened. Yeah. Well, I didn't know Metropolis was in New York City. Yeah, it's supposed to be. And Gotham is in New York City as well. And so, like in the comics, that's how it always was. Like that Metropolis was considered New York. That's why you see a lot of shots of Superman flying around the Statue of Liberty. I don't know. I have no idea where this Metropolis is. Again, I have a feeling in the OG, Smallville, they wrote it off as saying that Metropolis was downtown city, Kansas. I don't know, because they sure as heck got to and from the farm really quickly from the Daily Planet. I'm just saying, I don't know how. I've to this date never figured that out. But it was just very strange. So I wonder how that's going to play out in this version. After Nexium, she just Clark's old friend who shall not be seen. I actually wonder how many people from Clark's past and also other heroes that he obviously at this point he had to have met because they're older. I mean, I would think I need to know this. I need to know the timeline because they had babies and they had teenage boys, but it seems like they're on the same timeline as the Flash, and Flash and Iris haven't had their twins yet. If they have their twins, they have Dawn and Dawn. They should have Dawn and Dawn because their stuff has changed too because of Crisis, even though they had In Excess. I don't know. Huh. All of this is interesting. Crisis has really messed up a lot of stuff, but not in a good way. Now, at least in some versions, when things get revamped, we get characters that died to come back, or just things that happen. You get your powers back, you get a whole new life, you get a better life sometimes. This just seems to be all over the place. So I don't know. I don't know what their timeline is. Like if I were to reference the Flash right now, would they have kids? Would they be teenagers? Would Barry and Iris, be older? Would Iris be out of the damn Arrowverse? I mean, so it's so many questions, guys. So many questions. Gotham is in New Jersey in the comics. It's supposed to be across the water from New York City, Metropolis. Yeah, you're right. It's in New Jersey. And then Metropolis is supposed to be downtown, mainstream New York City. But in Smallville, in OG Smallville, it had to have been. I mean, it had to have been in Kansas. I mean, you cannot drive to Smallville that quickly from the Daily Planet like Lois used to do all the time in her car on a daily basis. I don't see that. I'm sorry. I thought that was the strangest aspect of Crisis, fusing DCEU with CW's continuity. Yeah, I think they were trying to... Okay, so I've always had this opinion about the DCEU, that there's so many missed opportunities. It's why I love DC, I love Marvel, I love Image, I love Dark Horse, yada, yada, yada. But where DCEU screws up is that they will do good movies, and then they will do subpar movies, and they will do movies they should never do. And then they don't cross with each other. Like the Joker movie that came out that won an Academy Award should have been in the DCEU continuity because he's obviously very effing good as Joker. And they don't have this. This is its own standalone thing. So we have Jared Leto, then we have this guy, then we have all of these different actors and all these different stories, and they're not connected to anything. The Robert Pattinson version of Batman paired up against Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, she looks more mature than he does. He looks like a young scrapper and she looks more mature. I don't know what timeline this is supposed to be in, but obviously it's his origin story. So like if you're looking at it time-wise, it doesn't make sense. If they do Flashpoint, are they just going to revamp everything anyway? I mean, everything that we see coming up, when they get to the Flashpoint movie, will everything change? I mean, obviously, though, I love the original Flashpoint story. I love the fact that it was actually, Thomas Wayne as Batman, and that Martha Wayne was like Joker because she got crazy when her son got killed. I love that storyline. I know Michael Keaton's going to be in Flashpoint. So I just don't know. There's so many anomalies. So whenever I see DCEU doing this, and then we see that they had Ezra Miller, who I'm not going to lie, I'm not the biggest Ezra Miller fan, and I'm not really happy that he's buried, but having him in the Flash Crisis scene, which I get what they were doing. They wanted the two Barrys to meet because they're from different Earths, and it just shows you more of the multiverse and blah, blah, blah. But, multiple Earths. I just don't understand. I don't understand why they did that, but they won't tie in anything else. It just doesn't make sense to me. Let's see. I'm not an Ezra Miller fan. Yeah, I don't like him as Barry. Martha Wayne needs a cinematic portrayal for sure. Yes, absolutely. In Smallville, Metropolis is in Kansas City. All the exterior shots of Metropolis in Kansas City with the skyline of other cities added in. I thought so. There's no way in heck Lois was driving that car from New York to Kansas every night. Let's see here. Screwing up. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll up a little bit because it goes very quickly, guys. Here we go. I would have expected it to reverse. I already read this one. I have a question for you guys. So what did you think of Lex's suit? Like in general? And how does Superman, how did he not know that was Lex? The guy literally said, do you want to know how I know more about you? And be like, yeah, because you're Lex and you're in this damn suit. I knew it was Lex. Why didn't he know it was? And then there's so many things that he's seeing that are kind of funny to me. Like when they had the coming out moment for Clark to his sons being Superman, and he slowly takes off his glasses. I thought they were going oh, and they're like, what's that about? And I'm like, and then he picks up the truck, and I'm like, see? Nobody was fooled by that. So why the hell was everybody? Why were you in a building full of investigative journalists and none of them knew who you were with your glasses off? And just saying. Just throwing it out there. Does that mean Melissa Bonez is done with the Supergirl? After this season, I think so. She just had a baby, and this is the last season of Supergirl. She's not coming. I won't say she won't do a cameo. I can't say that. I don't speak for her, but I know that they're not going to have anything major with her anymore. I think Lex is DC's infamous Iron Man. It does feel that way. It does. I think this suit that he made is either post-crisis or the time remember when he got that suit in the comics on Apocalypse? Could have been that, but I think he used a mother box because that makes more sense because of the computer. I think it's all mother box stuff. So if that is going to be very effing cool. But that means Lex has been holding a grudge for a long damn time. And it better not be John Cryer in that suit. I'll be so mad. He didn't sound like John Cryer. That's what's so weird. They're supposed to be on the same Earth, merged on the same Earth. But he has a different Lex. And this is why I'm saying John Diggle can come as John, actually he can come as anybody, but can definitely come as John Stewart. In Lynn's world, or Lynn's, whatever. Who is Tiny AF? I have no idea. Where did you hear Tiny? Are you saying Lex is Tiny or John Cryer is Tiny AF? Because if that's what you're saying, I do agree with you. I didn't mind John Cryer as Lex Luthor. He was a little annoying. But I guess maybe that fits the role because Lex is pretty much annoying too, except for in the OG Smallville. Michael Rosenbaum was very good as Lex. Let's see, and John Cryer. Yeah, he was a thing. But yeah, so answer this question for me, guys. I asked this early on. If you were Superman and you had kids and you didn't want your children to go in the barn to see your spaceship that brought you to Earth, would you not take it to the Fortress of Solitude and hide it? Because they can't get there if they don't know about it. Why in the world would you leave this ship in the barn in Kansas where anybody could accidentally discover it? Somebody can come by to help Martha plow and try and do some maintenance and say, oh, there's a door here. Why would you not put that ship in the Fortress of Solitude? Please answer this for me. I need to know this. This is a question that is bugging me. It's one of the main things that bugged me about this because I pretty much liked mostly everything else, but it bugged the hell out of me. So please, somebody answer this question for me. So it's premiere everything you thought. Actually, it was better, Kevin. I actually am very impressed with what they did. I got my Man of Steel with a bigger budget, Smallville return vibes, and I mean that's more you can ask. It definitely did not seem like an Arrowverse show. It seemed like a movie, so I'm good. I do a good job of hiding it better. Couldn't Superman with his infinite strength, like bury the ship some 100% of the underground for safety? Yeah, but this is my problem. Why would you need to? You have a whole freaking Fortress of Solitude. You took Lois there. You had dinner. You know, we saw it. We saw the fortress. Why not take the ship to the Fortress of Solitude? It makes no sense. It's like Batman parking the Batmobile in his garage at Wayne Manor. I'm like, I'm just put it in here. Nobody opened that. It's dangerous. I'm like, what? I'm like, why? You're supposed to be smarter than this. So yeah, I had some questions with that, guys. I'm just gonna throw it out there. It was confusing. It was very confusing. I took a lot of notes because I want to make sure I didn't forget anything when I was talking about. I love the fact that the guys didn't know what FFA is and their dad was raised on a farm, but you know, whatever. I want to know why Lex is using Kryptonian. I think he's probably doing it just to taunt Superman, to be honest. And I mean, I guess if you're going to taunt somebody, do it in their own language. Makes sense. But it's interesting that also tells me that, you know, there is, when he uses the mother box, he actually uses Kryptonian technology. There's so many instances when Lex makes a suit. One is a like genetically, you know, re-engineered, like, I guess, suit that has like a force field. I can't remember if it was outside or inside, but he could make force fields with it. It also protected him because he had cancer, and he used Kryptonian technology to do this. The mother box is kind of like that, but the mother box gives you like infinite, you know, possibilities. He essentially is Superman in that suit, but a little bit better because he's not affected by kryptonite. So I don't know. But I'm standing by that. I mean, if you watch other reviews on this, then remember Maria said she thinks that suit was basically came and originated from the mother box. That's what I think is happening here. Let's see here. Honestly, I don't really see the value of hiding his identity from his sons in the first place. They're both part Kryptonian, aren't they? Yeah, but I guess he did make a valid point. And since I am a mother, I don't have two kids. I have a dog and I have a daughter. But I will tell you, they are just as competitive for my attention. So, you know, when you have twins, fraternal twins, and one twin is getting everything, literally everything handed to him. Everything's so easy for him. And then you have Jordan, who literally nothing is. It's like night and day. If Jordan was not the one with powers, just think of how that would have played out. And that's the point that Clark was making. He's like, not only is it dangerous for them to know in case something happens and or they accidentally tell and everybody knows I'm Superman, but also what if one of them gets powers and the other doesn't? And they assumed it was going to be Jordan. He's already, you know, he's not having the best time in life. They're worried he probably at that point might be suicidal. Kind of like how Lana's daughter Sarah was taking all those pills. She just nonchalantly just basically said she tried to kill herself. I mean, that's what I got out of that conversation, that she was like, I'm trying to kill myself. So I took all these pills because there's sadness that travels around Smallville and it got into my house. That's literally what I got from that scene. I'm like, okay. Though I will say she did kind of lead Jordan on a lot. Because if you think about it, she gave her phone number to him. She invited him out and it sounded like a date. She did nothing. She didn't say, oh, me and my boyfriend will be there. No, that whole thing was just weird. That was really, really weird. So yeah. There's a lot of Smallville-ish OG elements in there. And the crows on the wall was kind of cool too. Let's see. I love that even Lex was basically a Trillino Superman. I mean, I respect Bruce if he did that, park the Batmobile in the garage. Could you see Alfred like freaking out? What if somebody comes? Like, no, I think that would be interesting. Captain Luthor says during the fight, my world was destroyed. I was the only survivor. Yeah, and that's another key thing. You're right. He could be a future version of Lex. And something could happen that causes the end of the world, and either it's Superman's fault or one of his sons' fault, or I mean, it could be a lot. There's so many things that happen in the comics that could have caused the Earth to be destroyed that they just modified in the CW world or Arrowverse. So I do like the fact that Captain Luthor could be an alternate version or a future version of the Lex he's used to. It would be interesting for me if the Lex that he's used to is still there. And of course, and then we have the doppelganger Lex in the same spirit. I don't know how that would work though, because when Beth and Alice were in the same place, like they were basically draining each other and one of them had to die. So it would be an interesting storyline. Also, the new Lex is black, so it's not the same version as John Cryer. Plus, he says my world was destroyed. Yeah, I do remember him saying that, and I knew he didn't sound like John Cryer, and I have not researched who the actor is that's playing Lex, so it's good to know that he's black. But I mean, that's fine. In the 90s, is it the 90s or 2000 animated series? He was black in that series too, so I'm cool with that. I want to know what future he's from, and now this gives me hope that we're going to get some really kick-ass fights, because if he's got future tech, which I still think comes from the mother box, Superman's got problems. Superman has problems. Now we know he doesn't have any more kryptonite. That's why I'm ruling out the pre-crisis suit, because that one was fueled by kryptonite, if I remember correctly. So I don't think that that's what they're going with. So post-crisis, post-Flashpoint, or the mother box are the three that I'm thinking of. I don't think this is when he went to Apocalypse, but again, I don't know. So I'm just throwing out. These are just theories I have, but yeah, I am really excited to see how they pull this one off. They're both part Kryptonian. Yes, I think they both have powers, because if we're going canon wise, Jonathan Kent is Superboy. He's Prime Superboy, so he has to have powers. I say that. This would not be the first time the CW screwed over a character like Black Canary. So, but if they were staying canon, which I hope that they are, at least in that regards of powers, I think both boys have powers. I think that Jonathan's just is going to be a late bloomer. I wasn't really happy with Supergirl's Silver Banshee. Neither was I. Even though, wasn't that the actress who played Supergirl in Smallville? I think it's the same actress, right? I have to go back. It's been a minute since I watched anything Supergirl. So, but yeah, hopefully Silver Banshee will be a lot cooler if they have her as are they going to do villains of the week? That would be cool. That would be cool, especially if they have Mr. Mixel. I can never say his name. Mr. Pixel. You know who I'm talking about. They screwed Mr. Terrific too. They did. That is not the Mr. Terrific. There's no universe where Mr. Terrific will ever be scared of Oliver Queen. Respect Green Arrow, because Green Arrow is like the joke of the Justice League in the comics. He actually gets upset because he's the one character that Batman does not have a contingency plan about, because he's not a threat to them. So yeah. Mr. Terrific was done wrong. I like the actor. I like that they were trying to do something new, but there's no universe where Mr. Terrific's like twiddling his thumbs trying to figure out what, either Oliver or Felicity want to do. That's not how that goes. Mr. Spitlick, exactly. Given the quality of Superman and Lois, kind of want the CW heroes reinterpreted with the show's quality. They would go broke in a week. They couldn't do that. Think of Stargirl. Think of how many times she has to use that staff. Because at least when you watch some series, like, even with the Flash, him losing his speed and being at like 1%, people aren't using their powers as much, or he can't use his powers as much. So they get to have more acting and more character development and blah, blah, blah. But with Stargirl, I mean, that staff is active all of the time. So the budget for that, man, they'd be broke. CW can't afford that. Not at all. I definitely want Cryer Lex versus Captain Luthor to see who's the better mind. Probably Captain Luthor. Well, I like Cryer. He just wasn't that intimidating. He definitely had the crazy side to him every now and then, but still, I loved Smallville. The Smallville scene in Crisis when he tried to hit Clark, and he's like, "I'm still stronger," and punched him. I thought that was really funny. Let's see. Given the quality of Superman and Lois, I kind of want to see a misinterpret the show's quality, like Vixen in Superman and Lois quality. I would love for them to bring Vixen in that quality, but they won't. Hey, let's be real. I like Superman. A lot of people don't because they think he's the golden boy, entitled, he's OP, blah blah blah. But I will say this: when it comes to Superman, he always gets the bigger budget. I mean, it's just what it is. They're going to give him the bigger budget, and that's what's happening with this. So this may be the only series we ever see that's going to be shot in this quality, which is sad because I really think, and I know that these cameras they're using are uber expensive. There are thousands of dollars. I get it. The production quality, I mean, you're spent just to do the FX on that is thousands of dollars. I mean, they're spending lots of money. But what's helping the CW right now is with Superman and Lois is they're spending HBO's money. So they're not spending their money. They're spending, so it's just like, I don't know. I just feel like I really wish this had gone to HBO Max. I know that sounds weird, but especially if they end up doing a Green Lantern series, which I think is going to HBO Max, they could tie all of that stuff in, and then it just won't be like this really cool movie quality TV show in the same verse as The Flash and and all of the remaining shows they have. Because right now, before they introduce one of the newer shows, we just have The Flash. We have the last season of Black Lightning. We have the last season of Supergirl coming up whenever they can film it. We have Stargirl. And then, of course, Superman. We don't really, and Legends of Tomorrow, which is kind of like its own thing. It's more of a parody of a superhero show. So, I don't know. It can only pass the cameras around. Pass the cameras around. Well, as somebody who has a film degree, I will say sometimes the studios don't own the cameras. They normally rent equipment. So even the rental fees are enormous. So they probably can't because they have a limited window. And when you film things of that quality, you have to have like huge memory drives. Like you can't just put it on your computer and expect it not to crash. So like there's so much that goes into that process. And yeah, I just don't. And all the green screen work, motion capture work, all of this stuff, it adds up. Yeah, the benefit of joining with HBO Max and WB money combined. Yep. From what I hear, the Green Lantern show is DCEU. Okay, but as DCEU, are they doing it? Because I don't think that DC has its own universe anymore. Like DC Universe is gone. So is it going to move somewhere? Is it going to HBO Max? Because I know right now Disney Plus seems to be everything MCU. So I'm thinking HBO Max is taking more of the DC route and getting all the DC shows. So I wonder if that's going to be a thing. I mean, that's how we got to see Wonder Woman for free on HBO Max. So I just want to know, just what that's going to be about. By the way, I'm really looking forward to, is it Raya the Last Dragon? It basically looks like a very cool version of Korra. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that. And I'm hoping that one's free, but I don't know if that's HBO Max or more than likely I think that's Disney Plus, but either way, I'm watching it. Yeah, I thought Green Lantern was actually going to be HBO Max too. I don't know. I'm going to have to go back and research that because it's been a minute since I've seen that. I don't know who the characters are. From what I heard, I think the one of the leads is going to be black and female. I'm down with that. I mean, I don't know if it's Joey. I don't know who it is, but it could be an original Lantern. There's so many freaking Lanterns. It could be anybody. I want them to introduce the Red Lanterns, the Yellow Round, all of the other Lanterns too, because it would just make more sense to have origin stories, or at least have like a person of the week as a different Lantern. I think that would be very cool. Oh, you mean that it will tie into the movies? Really? DCEU is actually going to tie in one of the shows into a movie? Well, okay. I'll believe it when I see it. Let's see here. Okay. Sorry. DCU equals the movies. Yeah, DCEU. I understand the DC, I guess entertainment universe is what that stands for, is just the movies, but they don't make a habit of following the MCU pattern of tying in and connecting everything, like how WandaVision is going to be tied into Doctor Strange 2, and how, and also in the Spider-Man 2, and how Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to have an impact on She-Hulk and all these other shows. So like, I guess what I'm saying is that that's not something that they have done. They make movies, good or bad, and they don't tie in. The only time we've actually really seen a tie-in as far as I'm concerned, besides Justice League, is Shazam, when you saw Superman come and have lunch. And you didn't really see Henry Cavill. You just saw from the neck down Superman come to the cafeteria to have lunch with them. But we don't have any tie-ins, like, at all. So until they get on point with that, it's hard. That's why I'm wondering if they're going to use the Flashpoint movie as a catalyst of revamping the whole freaking universe, because it doesn't make sense as it stands. It just doesn't make sense. Just like looking at the Harley Quinn Birds of Prey movie, and and Cassie came. Well, it's not Cassie, but Harley is going from where she was in Birds of Prey, and now we're in Suicide Squad 2. Are those two movies connected? And what I mean by that, just because they had Harley in it, doesn't mean that any of the events that happened in Birds of Prey are going to carry over into the Suicide Squad, unless the Suicide Squad 2 movie predates the Harley Quinn movie. We don't know. So it's so confusing when you think about it on that scope. It's just very confusing. I really wish they had a linear timeline that made sense. They don't. So I'm just like, it is what it is. Wonder Woman was good. Wonder Woman 2, was problematic. Shazam was good. I liked Aquaman. Man of Steel, for the most part, was okay. I had lots of problems with the Batman versus Superman movie. The Justice League movie had lots of issues. I'm really hoping the Snyder Cut does something, but I don't know. It looks good. The trailer for the Zack Snyder's Justice League cut looks really good. I'm going to watch it. I'll probably even review it. But it's just the hit and miss thing just bothers me. So yeah, Shazam was one of their better movies. I really enjoyed that movie. The Robert Pattinson Batman movie is also not connected to the Justice League continuity as well. That's what it seems like. I mean, if it is, I don't know how. I don't know. How can you go from a more mature and older version, Ben Affleck, Bruce Wayne, with experience and war wounds, to a younger Batman who's just getting his shit together? You know what I mean? It's like how Wonder Woman's going to look at him and be like, what? I was bantering with this guy. Now I'm like, wait, really? I'm like, call me when you grow up. It's just like, not saying that Batman movie trailer was not good, because when Robert Pattinson was wailing on that thug in the street, I was like, okay, this is what we're used to. This is Bruce Wayne, cray cray. But I don't see how he's going to tie in with the rest of the Justice League. Can you see this version of Robert Pattinson with the Flash's Ezra Miller? It looks weird. So whoever's approving these movies, they don't think 5 steps ahead, kind of like Kevin does with MCU. No, they think, oh, this movie could be cool. Oh, what about this movie? Or what about that movie? It's such a Bryan Singer way of doing stuff, like how he completely butchered a lot of the stuff in the X-Men movies. It's just not continuity wise. It doesn't make sense. So DCEU needs a revamp. They need their own version of Kevin Feige, and they need to find him, now, because what they're doing now is not working. I mean, yes, I enjoy some of the movies they do, but it's not. There's no plan. We're not going to get to a screen version of Earth's Mightiest or Crisis or any of these storylines, because they're too all over the place and disjointed and disconnected. So yeah, that is my I'm on my soapbox right now, guys. I'm like, I don't mean to do it, but I got to do it. But I will say I would be extremely excited if Superman and Lois had been on HBO Max and they crossed this into the, Now, to be fair, I'm not trying to get Henry Cavill and Amy Adams out of a job. And I get why this has to stay its own continuity, because if you were to put them on HBO Max, and there is very good, chance that they would be the new Superman and Lois in the DCEU. So I guess that's probably why they will only be on the Arrowverse. But I'm not going to lie. If you go back and watch Man of Steel, and then you look at this, they had a better film quality in this show than Man of Steel, because they were using DSLRs and they were doing shaky cam stuff in that movie. So they had it almost felt like they had a bigger budget for this 2-hour premiere. And I don't know if that's going to continue again through the rest of the series, but guys, that stuff was on point. The film, everything, cinematography on this was awesome. I'm not married to Henry Cavill Superman. Yeah, I'm not, but I mean, he has established himself to look very good along Gal Gadot and Ben Affleck. I really hate that Ben gave up Batman. I really would have loved to have seen a movie with him because I mean, I don't really care for the actor, in general, but I got to give him props. He did not do badly as Bruce Wayne in Batman. I had no problems with him whatsoever. Bad script writing and bad plot doesn't make the actor bad. And I think he did really well with what he had. And I think he had potential to do very well in his own movie. And I know he's the one that backed out, but I mean, I really hate that he did that because I think I would have loved to have seen an origin story, not an origin, but more like a detective type, kind of situation like they're trying to do with Robert Pattinson with Ben Affleck. I think that'd been really cool. Let's see here. I love whenever I try to scroll up on these things. I swear, guys, it is hilarious because like I go up and it goes right back down, and I'm like, why? I pay for you. Do what I want. I'm like, sorry, I'm yelling at StreamYard again. Yeah, it's just being weird. So I'm just gonna stop doing that. So back to Superman and Lois, though. I like the guy playing Perry White. I don't know who he is. I didn't look up the actor, but I really like that moment. He definitely channeled some of the old school, like Christopher Reeve, Perry White moments that we saw in Superman's 1 and 2. I don't really count 3 and 4. I thought that was really cool. I really need to research it, but I liked him as Perry White. I really hope we get some cameos from him because I don't think Lois is going to be forced out. She may actually be working remotely. This is their COVID, I guess, being isolated on the farm. Older broken Batman was actually a highly interesting concept. It is like torn, been through some crap, did this all before, had a lot of experience type Batman to me was freaking cool. I know a lot of people were like, well, Superman's comic, was founded first. And this is true. Superman's comic did come out before Batman's comic, but I don't care. The dynamic looked cool. And so I had no problem with it. So I don't know. I really wish they had rethought or renegotiated or begged Ben Affleck to do a few movies because I think that's when he decided to bail, that's when a lot of stuff got off the rails even further because then they had to recast. And instead of recasting somebody older, they got Robert Pattinson, who's younger, significantly younger than Ben Affleck. And it just, for me, I can't, and I don't want to have a closed mind. So I have to look and see how he does in the movie once the movie comes out. Because I am very excited to see him and Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. But I don't know. I just visually seeing him standing with Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman and, being the Batman and then having Henry Cavill. It just seems weird. It seems like we're mixing, the teens with the adults. And even though Robert Pattinson, I think he's 30 or something. I think he's in his 30s. I don't know how old he is, but he looks a lot younger. Like I'm 40. I'm almost 45. I know I don't look my age, but it's just strange, to see that dynamic with the Justice League because you're always used to seeing a mature Batman, a mature Superman, a mature Wonder Woman. They're battle worn. They have all of this fighting experience. They've all had to face like horrible things and figure out how to save people in the world. And then you got this guy who's just learning to be Batman. It just seems weird to me. And I mean, maybe I'm alone in this. I don't know. It just seems weird. In an alternate universe, we got a World's Finest movie followed up by a Trinity movie and rounded out with a Justice League origin movie. Was I in that world? I should have been. That reality should have been mine. Maybe we can go to Wanda and she can use her chaos magic to get us to the Nexus Bridge and we can figure it out. We can redo all this crap. But yeah, I'm not extremely happy with the DCEU. Just put it out there. But I am very happy with what went down in this show. I'm just I love that there's a mystery. I want to know what Morgan's doing. And again, I'm going to stand by the fact that I think Morgan is more Lois's adversary than Clark's. That's who she's going to be up against because I think it's going to be a human level. It's human to human, intellect to intellect. I think she's going to be one dealing with Morgan and his crap. And then Superman's going to be dealing with the fact that Lex Luthor's trying to kill him using a suit more than likely that was created from the mother box. So I think it's going to happen. It's my theory, guys. But yeah, I'm going to take a few more comments because we're almost at an hour. DCU needs to fix Amber Heard and Ezra Miller. Yeah, they should be in their own movie called Why. Super Why. We are the super why are we in this cast league? I don't like Ezra Miller. And Amber Heard is very problematic. I feel like if Johnny had to go, Amber should go too. Because it's only fair. I'm not, I don't believe in domestic violence, period. And since she contributed to that, I don't think she should be given a slap on the wrist and he loses his whole career. It should have gone both ways and it did not. So yeah, whatever. But yeah, I wonder if we're going to see Pete in the series. They did name drop him. I said that earlier. So I'm holding out for Pete being somebody that does come into at some point Smallville universe. I mean, they did kind of say everybody started moving away because Smallville's not doing so well. People are losing their farms. I guess the farming crisis happened and a lot of stuff happened, went down. And I love the fact that Martha mortgaged her house to the farm basically that she paid off to help other farmers and help people that had surgery and all that. So Martha is a saint. I feel so bad. I wish that she had lived longer in this series. I mean, we'll probably see her in flashbacks, but I wish she had lived longer. But they needed a reason to go to the farm, so there you go. Maria, my second favorite DC character next to Cruz. Mira. Mira is cool. They should do more with Mira, but like I said, I'm DC, EU. I'm not trying to be negative Nanny here, but I'm telling you, very problematic. Very, very problematic. We'll see what they do though. If they introduce, Jessica Cruz in a Lantern situation, maybe I'll give them a little bit of props. Because the Shazam movie was good. It was really good. And again, I didn't mind most of the movies except for Batman versus Superman and Justice League. I just don't understand what happened with those. So we'll see. They also made questionable design choices. Yes, they really have. But this one didn't. I actually like how the farm looks like a farm and the barn looks like a barn. It doesn't look staged. It doesn't look, it looks like a dreary Kansas farm. I think that's going to be pretty cool. Whenever somebody mentions Shiva, one of my goals in life is to have Shiva come in as her actual portrayal, not like we got on the Birds of Prey TV show, like back in the day, that ironically had Alice as actress on it as Black Canary's daughter. I did not like how they portrayed Shiva. Shiva does not go down like that. I need to have I want a Lady Shiva movie. If you followed me for a while, which I know some of you have, one of my favorite DC characters ever is Lady Shiva. I love Lady Shiva. In Marvel, one of my favorite characters is Quanon. I have a type. I'm like Shiva and Quanon. I have a type. I just really need them to do a Lady Shiva correctly. They can bring Lady Shiva into this series and make her extremely badass. I don't know what she would do there. She'd be bored. But I mean, bring her in to fight Lex, I guess. I don't know. And she would win because it's Lady Shiva. I don't care what anybody says. Lady Shiva does not go down like that. So I will be down with Lady Shiva being. I mean, I kind of wish they had Lady Shiva in the Suicide Squad movie. I think that would have been cool. Or have her in the Birds of Prey movie, since she was temporarily a member of the Birds of Prey. She took Black Canary's spot for a little while. I would have loved to have seen that, but we're probably not going to get a Lady Shiva movie or appearance or even a cameo anytime soon that's not animated. And that irritates me. So maybe in Young Justice, we'll see Lady Shiva do a cameo. But I need her. And that's all that matters. Superman's dealt with the League of Assassins before. Yes, Superman's dealt with everybody at this point. Everybody. That's why we moved on to that's why we started doing zombies. Because it's everybody. I really hope the DCU has reboots. Take Robert Pattinson's Batman, new Superman, new Wonder Woman, new Flash, new Aquaman, new Martian Manhunter. If they do that, then it'll be its own little continuity, because I don't think Gal Gadot's going anywhere from Wonder Woman anytime soon. And honestly, I mean, I'm sure we could find somebody else to play her, but I mean, if you're going to play her, then just get Flora or somebody else. Get a different version of Wonder Woman. Get Nubia. Having Nubia be cast as Wonder Woman, I would be down with that, and Robert Pattinson. So if we did that, we'd have Nubia and Robert, and we'd have, as for the Flash, we wouldn't have Barry, we would have Wally. We would have, we'd redo it. Martian Manhunter is just going to be Martian Manhunter, but I would absolutely love a team. You got me actually wanting to do an actual Dreamcast now of a new DCEU movie and what characters they should have. I might do that. Thank you for that, Fedora Society, because that's pretty cool. I'm going to recast DCEU. I'm going to fix their stuff. Cinematic Supergirl was cast recently, right? Yep. I think so. I don't know who it was. I haven't paid attention, but I did hear the rumor of that. I remember her actress being a person of color, Latina, I think. Yep. I mean, there's been lots of variations of Supergirl. There's been a robot version of Supergirl, so why not? But I think having Nubia as Wonder Woman, oh my gosh, in an actual movie would be cool. A live action interpretation of Nubia would be cool. Yeah. I would be down, but just not Future State. Because I don't know what's happening with Future State. It is all over the place. I don't understand. From what I've read, and I haven't read all of them, some of the stories are good, but I don't understand how they connect with each other. And so I guess maybe I'm either incredibly slow, and I don't think I am, or they just didn't have an actual plan. So, but in theory, it's cool. Some of the characters are cool. So there's that. But no. Like, no. But yeah, I'm gonna get going in a second, guys. But I'm gonna leave you with my questions. I already asked about what you thought about him not putting his ship at the Fortress of Solitude like he should have originally. Also, do you think Jonathan has powers? Also, how do you think Lex got his suit, and what do you think his end game is, and what timeline do you think it came from? Another question that I have is how Superman was able to quickly recover from that kryptonite bullet or being stabbed with a kryptonite shard. Because that was a very fast recovery. I'm not used to him. I'm usually seeing him weaken to the point where he should have crashed on that car and hit the ground and not just kind of hovered and then flew home. So let me know what you think about that. And then what do you think Morgan's endgame is? Because I really want to know. I really, really want to know. But yeah, you guys have been awesome. Thank you. This is a lot easier for me to do because editing this video would have taken forever. It's a 2-hour premiere. We would have been here a long time, and I would not be able to say half the things that I want to say. So I love the fact that I could live stream. So hopefully you guys are okay with that. Not everything will be live streamed. I'll be doing some of my videos still in the old way. Like I did post a Black Lightning review earlier today. But this is just so much easier when you want to talk about shows, especially right after they drop. So this one, probably Yashahime and Charmed will continue as live streams because it's just so much easier for me to connect with people and have really cool conversations. So yeah, I'm really, really excited for this series, guys. I'm kind of, I don't want to get my hopes up too much because I do know it is the CW, but from how it looks and the budget they have, I'm really excited to see where they go from here, and I hope you guys are too. But again, this chat is going to disappear. So if you have any questions or you want to continue the conversation, please leave the comments below so we can chat. Make sure to like. If you haven't subscribe. I'm adorable, so why wouldn't you? And also, there will be a WandaVision. Now, I'm thinking of doing it as a live stream. I'm not sure yet, but I will definitely be doing my WandaVision review after the show drops. But it won't be. It drops for me at 2 a.m. because I get it in where I live. It doesn't come on at midnight. It's 2 a.m. So it'll probably be somewhere between 11 and 1 p.m. my time when I'm able to actually post the video. So if I don't edit it and I do it as a live stream, it'll be 11 a.m. If I do it as a video, it'll probably be closer to 1. So just throwing it out there. But yeah, you guys are awesome. I love you so much. But I'm going to go to bed now because I have work in the morning. And thanks for hanging out with me. And don't forget to let me know what you guys think. Have a good night, guys. Or if you're in a region where it's morning,